Erika here with PrepScholar GMAT. We're here today with Yuan Geng. She's the Director of GRE and TOEFL here at PrepScholar and a Kellogg MBA. She's here to tell us about her experience applying to business school and taking the GMAT, as well as to give some advice to aspiring Kellogg applicants. As always, if you like this video, feel free to hit the button to subscribe, and you can always head over to our PrepScholar GMAT blog for even more great GMAT content. Yuan, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so we're just going to get started. Tell us a little bit about your background.
Yeah, so I'm currently Director of GRE and TOEFL at PrepScholar, and prior to this, I was a Product Manager at TripAdvisor. And then prior to TripAdvisor, I was attending Kellogg.
Awesome. So why did you choose Kellogg?
Yeah, so I applied to a bunch of schools, mostly in the top 10, and Kellogg happened to give me a pretty sizable scholarship, and for me, the cost of going to business school is something that's always a concern for me, even as I was applying, and so the scholarship was just so enticing for me to give up. And I visited Kellogg as well, and it seemed like a really great school. I liked the people there, and so just decided to go there.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm sure that looking for scholarships is very relatable for a lot of our viewers. All right, so what was the MBA application process like for Kellogg when you were applying?
Honestly, I don't remember much. This was more than 4 years ago. I applied pretty late. I applied only for the second round.
Oh, interesting.
And I kind of did it really quickly. I remember that there was an interview, so I had to fly to Chicago for the interview.
Right.
And I took the opportunity to take a tour of Kellogg and also Chicago. But other than that, I remember the application was pretty similar to that of any other application for business school.
Cool. So why did you apply in the second round?
Because I wasn't sure if I was going to go. I kind of decided around August that I wanted to apply to business school, and so I took the GMAT, I think, in November.
Wow.
And I applied right away. It took me probably 2 months to apply to 4 to 5 schools.
Gotcha. So you didn't study for the GMAT for all that long?
No, yeah.
Wow, okay, so how did you study for the GMAT that fast?
Well, I took a month off from work, and I bought a bunch of Manhattan GMAT books, and I studied all the, I think there was a book that was like the most difficult quant questions. My quant was the score that I needed to improve the most, and so I just took the test, yeah.
Gotcha, so not a ton of verbal prep.
I definitely prepped, but I knew that the quant score was the one that I needed to increase.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So you did entirely self-study?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool. So when you were preparing for the GMAT, was there anything that you did that you thought, like looking back on it now, you'd go, I would not recommend that to anyone else?
I actually like the fact that I just kind of studied last minute because I was able to focus really hard for a month and get it over with. I think it's never pleasant to study for the GMAT because it's not really something that's interesting. So I actually, looking back, thought it was a good idea. I think I got a 720 on my GMAT. I have to go back and think, but it was something like the 90th or the 95th percentile for GMAT at that time, and it was kind of like borderline qualifying me, and I knew that my other experiences were really strong, so I just didn't bother to take it another time.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's awesome when you can just take it once and just be done.
Yeah,
that's awesome. So was there anything that so other than, taking that time off to study, is there anything else you would recommend to students who are studying for the GMAT, especially those who aren't able necessarily to take that much time off work?
Yeah, I would say, don't take it too seriously. You should study hard if you are really serious about going to business school, but it's not life and death. I have had friends who were in banking. They took the GMAT. They didn't really get the perfect score that they wanted for the top business schools, and they decided not to go, and now they're doing great things with their lives. So I think in general, just do your best, but it's not something that's going to ruin your life either way.
Awesome. That's great advice. Okay, so what would be your biggest piece of advice for students who are preparing to apply to Kellogg or another similar, maybe top 10 business school?
Biggest piece of advice. I would say, really try your best to get into a top 10 because well, everyone's reason for going to business school is different, so that really varies. But I think it is 2 years of your life, and it's hundreds of thousands of dollars. So it's not it's not an easy decision that you should make, and it's not something that's going to automatically transform your life. And so if you are, if you're thinking about a career switch, or if you're thinking about what to do with your life as the next step, I would really recommend that you talk to people and really think about what you want to do. And think about business school as one of the many options. It is something that can actually give you opportunities that you've never really had before. But at the same time, it's not necessarily the only route. What I tend to see is a lot of people who are like super obsessed with going, and they take it 7 to 10 times and then not getting in. I don't think that's necessary. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great advice. Well, I think that's about all we have time for. Thanks so much for answering our questions.
Great. Thanks for having me.
So if you have any questions for either me or Yuan about what we talked about today, please feel free to leave us a comment. Thanks so much for watching, and happy GMAT studies.